Good to see you, high school students. I am here with my friend Abigail, who is a small group leader and possibly a relative. We know she's a sister in the Lord, but we share the same last name, and we are here because we're going to have a little argument. It's going to be healthy, but she thinks she's got some better picks than me in terms of greatest so-and-so.
I do, and I think that I can do a pretty good argument for the greatest actor of all time, who I think is Chadwick Boseman. I don't know if y'all heard, but he did all of those roles while battling cancer, which I just can't imagine the strength he had to do to have that.
That's definitely a good pick. I was going to say Denzel Washington with all the Oscars.
The Oscars are good. It's a good point.
Yes. What about the greatest athlete? What would you say?
You know, I kind of think about Michael Phelps. When I was watching the Olympics, I mean, he won all those medals, like a ton of medals.
A lot of golds, a couple silvers.
Yeah, a lot.
I was gonna say Michael Jordan. Come on, two-sport athlete, basketball and baseball.
Baseball's shaky. We all know baseball's shaky. But I think I have one who's gonna take the cake.
Come on, let's go.
Greatest scientist. I don't know about y'all, you might not know her, she's kind of underground, but my mother, Dr. Heather Walker, professor of thermodynamics, she's testified to Congress, she's done all this stuff, plus she loves Jesus. So I think that she's the greatest scientist of all time.
I've come to a place where I can't compete. You just threw the mom card out there. She did it.
Shameless.
So I was gonna say Galileo, he was a scientist, loved the Lord, but
my mom's probably better, yeah.
Most definitely. Abigail and I just had a lighthearted dispute. But in Luke 22, verses 24 to 30, the disciples were really disputing and arguing about something important to them. Who would be the greatest in the kingdom to come? They were going back and forth, throwing their names out there, saying it's definitely going to be, no, you know it's going to be me. And that's why we did that. But we're transitioning to the text now, going from that dispute that they were having in verse 24, when in verse 25, Jesus steps in and he's saying, what you're doing right there is what the world does. Kings throw their weight around, they throw titles around, people in authority do that. But 26, among you, that cannot be the case, disciples. With you, greatness is going to be the one that decides to get the lowest. The seniors, the juniors, you got to be able to step down to a freshman level. Freshmen are like, yes. But that's what servanthood looks like. Jesus says in verse 27, for who is greater? He who sits at the table or the one who serves? Immediately you're going to think, if I'm sitting at a table, I'm the one in charge. And Jesus says, it's the waiter. It's the one coming in to serve. That's what greatness looks like in God's perspective. The disciples, Jesus realized in verse 28, they had stuck with him through his own personal trials. They stayed close. Now for us, we got to stay close to Christ in the midst of our trials, knowing that he has come to serve us by giving himself. The disciples stuck with Jesus, and we should too, as a result of serving God and others. What happens from that? We now get a privilege. We now get a kingdom privilege, I should say, to enjoy fellowship. Verses 29 and 30 talk about to be able to reign with Christ. It says that you may eat and drink in verse 30. At my table, in my kingdom. You get a seat at the table when you choose to serve your peers, to serve your family, and anyone else in need. Matthew 19:30 reminds us that when you put yourself last, when it comes to the kingdom, that then you'll be first. That's what servanthood looks like.
So as y'all just heard, there's no need to argue about greatness. The Bible tells us that greatness is found through serving others. I hope and pray that we all find opportunities to serve our family, our friends, and our neighbors this week as we seek to find true greatness in Christ. Have a blessed week, y'all.